Blog Talk Radio.
All right. All praises to our Elohim, our Father, our Abba Yah, the Ancient of Days. All honor to Yahweh Shai and our earthly mother, Wisdom, the great dove. So tonight, family, nation, brethren, sisters, we again come on a Wednesday night at 9:30 to do our thing for the Father, to usher in the kingdom to come. All praises. We have a guest tonight. We got Brother Leon tonight, and we're going to be chopping it up as well. We have a little bit more time tonight, so we're gonna do what we can do for the Father, for the kingdom, for the nation. But first, I'm going to read this. The Father had me write. Begin. It is time now for application. We have been training our entire lives for this point in time. Now we apply what we know to the light without fear of darkness. The star seeds, us, have awakened our Adam, and now we hear, see bionically. The fear of the world was us having no fear and applying our Adam frequency as one to actually move the mountains that surrounded us and kept us imprisoned in the valley of dry bones. But now through our consciousness and our sentence being fulfilled, together we elevate past the base man, woman, to be the glow who the universe knows. The Hebrew language was taken away in order for us, in the end, our spirit of truth could and would enlighten us on the true meanings of words as we elevate. The English word twisted and created stumbling blocks for the world until our time to wake and rise. This is why when Yahweh Shai says, until my truth is spoken and known throughout the entire world, then he will come back. This makes sense due to the Gentiles' doctrines, religions, words, and actions has not ushered in Yahweh Shai's return. Only thing they did was cement their testimony, judgment, wormwood. However, through his spirit of truth, through his people, the whole world is now knowing his truth. Some still scoff and mock, but that will not stop the truth as it is now the appointed time. All praises, all praises. Real quick, this is my reading because this came over me on during the eclipse. I think I put it in the comment on my community page, but we're going to start Jeremiah 30. 4, and we'll go through 11. 4, and these are the words that the Lord spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. That's the Gentiles. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. For it is come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. But they shall serve their Lord, their God, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Elohim, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, saith the Elohim, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee, yet I will not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. So be it. Now, brother Leo.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That sounds so nice to my ears, man. So nice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So,
especially the part when they say the pale faces. And if you ain't seen a bunch of pale faces walking around lately or on the TV, and I'm not talking about their skin tone, I was just talking, they just look like they sick. Like they sick to their stomach. They know it's coming. They know it's coming.
That look of dregs is on their face. When you when back in the day, I'm going to say this, back in the day when you would drink a lot and then you got that look on your face like you about to vomit. That's what they looking like right now. They got that look of vomit.
That's the truth. That is the truth, man. So as you were saying, you gonna ask me something?
No, I was gonna say, so what's on store what's on tap for you, brother? What words you bringing? What you got? You're up.
So I wanted to talk about the eclipse and what had happened during the eclipse. I mean, here we were able to watch it from our backyard. I'm gonna tell you right now, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life, because of the meaning that we know that it holds for us, especially the closing out of the Gentile reign and them shackles and them bonds that are coming off, and that's how I felt. I was here with my family, my wife and my children, and while the eclipse was going on, I was blowing the shofar. And me, not personally, because I don't have one, but I had put out the speaker outside, and for the however duration long it lasted, that was just blowing full volume. And there was even one point where I turned it down because my wife was trying to ask me something and I couldn't hear it. That's how loud I had this thing going during the eclipse. I think I might have had it off for like maybe 2 to 5 minutes, and the next door neighbor yelled out and said, "Why did you turn that off? Can you please turn it back on?" And I was like, "All right, no worries." And I started asking because I'm like, you don't know what we're just ushering in right now. But yeah, I'll definitely play the shofar for you. And if you haven't played the shofar in a loudspeaker and you stand beside that speaker for any amount of time, the vibration and the residency inside your body, I mean, it's a hard thing to take for a long periods of time. And every time it blew, I kept thinking about, when the trumpets are going to blow in the last days, or when Israel went to war, and the fear that it would have put into people on the battlefield. And again, the fear that's going to happen. Could you imagine, all of these ships coming in the sky and blasting that trumpet? Oh my God, man. It's going to be something to behold and to feel that vibe. And it was a great vibe. I felt like the shackles had literally come off. I felt like I lost 100 pounds. I have more energy. I don't know why, but since that time leading up to it, I was, like I said, I had a bunch of aches and pains, and today and then since the eclipse, man, I feel new. I feel new, and I'm happy, for everybody that's in this walk that's made it this far. Like, we are so blessed to see this this day. I mean, to come out of what we're coming out of, it's crazy. And I say this, I'll give you an experience that I had last week. So I think it was like 7 days before the eclipse. So I was at work, and a guy that I deal with quite often, I asked him, so to give you a little backstory, my wife says sometimes you don't, you're not social enough. So I was like, okay, like, she said, you're a little bit standoffish. I'm like, all right. So I try to go out of my way to relate to people at their level. So when was the Passover or Easter?
Well, we did on the 2nd. Yep, on the 2nd.
That's okay. So just in and around that time. So I asked the gentleman, I said, well, how was your Easter? And he said, what Easter? And I said, well, I thought you said you celebrate Easter. He's like, I do, but I didn't have an opportunity to because I was working. And so he was grumbling. And then I said, well, and I said, oh, well, it's unfortunate. And he turned around to me and he said, they're just treating us like some niggers in here. And I'm like,
mm-hmm.
I started laughing. And my first reaction was to shake the man's hand, and I shook his hand, and I said, welcome to the club.
Right.
And at that time, when I shook his hand, the image popped up in my mind where we were both walking through the same door. I was walking out, and he was walking in, and I shook it at that moment when I shook his hand. And I thought about it, and I said, well, that's symbolic of us coming out of our curses and then walking into it. So we got released from jail, and now they're walking into it. So that was on my mind too during the eclipse. And I mean, wow, what a beautiful time. What a beautiful time.
It was. And my whole persona during that time, it's funny, I said to my wife, I said, I'm going to blow the shofar, I'm going to blow it outside. And I had my glasses on, and I was going to look at the event. And I said, I'm going to wait till it gets to the, whatever. I think we had like 80 something totality, whatever. And I forgot my shofar. And all of a sudden I'm looking up at the eclipse, and the wife just handed me my shofar. So I sat there and I said, thanks, babe. And I blew it as long as I could, and which was probably about 5 minutes. And then I said, I need to put this on YouTube and find it on YouTube and use it. And that's what I did. And it was interesting. The feeling that I had was one of pure finality, like it was finished, it was complete. And it reminded me, and I can never find this passage, but I think it's in Jasher, but I can't find it. It's when it's 70 AD when the Romans and the Edomites were all around Jerusalem, and the Judeans were in there arguing. And the Father had said to all the spirits that were protecting Jerusalem that it is completed. And the Judeans, while they were arguing, they all of a sudden they heard all this. They heard the horses and chariots, and they heard all this noise and racket, and they looked up and they saw all of the army of the Father of the Most High leave. And after they were done, he said, it is completed. And that was a wrap. And then they got overtaken. And this time I felt the same thing. And he said, it is completed. And I was like, oh man, we are done. And as it happened, as it ended, I was like, I felt a heavy burden gone. I felt very relaxed. I felt very content. Excited for what's coming next. And this is the end of our captivity and the beginning of our reign. This is the time, that's what he said, Jacob's trouble, he will be saved out of it. This is still Jacob's trouble. Jacob's trouble is still happening because it is a trouble. It is a trouble on the physical, the psyche, the physical, psychological trouble that was on Jacob now falls to the nations. So it's still Jacob's trouble, but Jacob is saved out of it. So that's the beauty of what I kept feeling and kept seeing, to where it had all come full circle on that eclipse. And now, going forward, I'm watching, Gentiles. I'm watching their demeanor. I'm watching how they're moving, and I'm seeing something different than I've ever seen before. You know, even when engaging with them in public, you know, it's different. You know, it's like and maybe it's not different for me, but it's different for them, or maybe it's vice versa. You know, maybe it's just me feeling that it's different for me, which then makes me not prideful, but very bold in my, like, basically I'm standing straight up. Isn't that what he said in Ezekiel? He said, you can stand up a great and mighty army. So, I mean, now we're standing straight up where, you know, some brothers back in the day, we were, you know, hunched over a little bit. We weren't really confident. So this confidence now is exuding. That's what, to me, Pat, you know, Sister Pat was talking about in terms of the glow. Because when you see us standing up, like, you're like, whoa, he must be an athlete, you know, because this was their mindset. Oh, he must be an athlete. He must be a lawyer. He must be a doctor. You know, she must be a lawyer. She must be, you know, it has to be something within their system in order to make us feel emboldened and confident to be able to stand straight up. Well, now none of that is needed. It's an amazing feeling. Like, truly, it's an amazing feeling. And it just started.
That's right. It's just, that's that. And that's why I believe that moving forward, like, we're going to be so lucky because we're that generation, but we'll always remember what had happened. And that's why we're not going to go back. So for everybody that's been on this walk for the last, you know, pretty much for the most of your life, but especially in these last 7 years, this ain't the time to fall off now. You know what I mean?
No.
Time. I don't even think that comes into, well, for me, it doesn't come in, it comes to mind, but I believe if you've been doing what you need to be doing and you've been listening, meditating, studying, and you have that quiet confidence, that glow that you were talking about, that inner strength. Because for me, I know now, and I have more belief that the Most High has been walking with me and walking with us as a whole. That inner confidence, because we're walking within our power, and I feel that all the time, especially when I come up to some adversity or I gotta check myself. I always gotta remember, you know, walk in your power. You just were freed, right? So let's keep walking. Let's keep following the laws and the statutes, because that's what's gonna keep us. I mean, we were the reason why we went down. Nobody took us over. It's because we were corrupted from within, as a society, as Hebrews, inner, just like what we're seeing right now with this the former system of things, and that's why these guys went down, because, you know, they are corrupted. Their thought processes, they're not checking themselves, right? They want to be swine. They want to wallow in the mud because their frequency is set to that, and it's hard to raise the vibration when you're doing a lot of the things that we used to do.
Right. And we used to do that based on the system that they put over us. And so when that system, when the eyes to see and the ears to hear breaks the system, and that's what I was saying a while back, you know, the reverb, the Gentiles have done a dastardly deed against us with this reverb. Let me give you the definition of this reverb, because this is so key. It's key because why can't I mean, they always they want me to guitar. No, I don't want the guitar. I want the definition. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, so an effect whereby a sound, especially that produced by an amplified musical instrument, is made to reverb slightly. A device for producing reverb on an amplified musical instrument, meaning it's something that takes that changes or changes the sound, the original sound, to reverb. So like when Jimi Hendrix would do reverb on his guitar, that's what, you know. So that changed the music. It changed the original sound. So what they've been doing was amplifying their reverb. What's their reverb? Their narrative, their system, their beauty, their lust, their economics, their history. You know, this changed the entire echo, if you will, of the Father, who was out here saying the same thing. He doesn't change. I don't change. Jacob, you're going through trouble. You're going to have to go through this. You're going to have to go through it. But the whole time they changed that. They were doing this reverb to make us think that we were them and they were us. And, you know, when we were in our curses or deep in it, they would just, you know, make fun of us. Like I was talking to Sister Pat earlier. It's just like when Biden said, if you ain't black, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. See, that's like a slap in the face. Like, are you kidding me? But under curses, we just took it. Now we're like, nigga, please. You're an old, cantankerous white man who has nothing to do with us. Matter of fact, let's look at your history. Let's look at your receipts. And, oh, no. And it's something that Judah had said, Brother Judah had said, that was very, 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 very extremely profound, that is the main case against the Gentile and the heathen. And that is, the Gentile and heathen are very good. One, the gaslight. Here's the gaslight. They're very good at telling us what our present and our future will be, whilst the entire time not wanting to deal with their past. They're even willing to tell us about our past, tell us about a future that we can't have, but they will never deal with their own past. And this is a huge case against them, because the main reason that they have that they're now going into bondage, if you will, going under cursing, is because of the captivity that they did against us. I was thinking about this too. When, you know, they did too much. Okay, so during slavery in the 1800s, it was a worldwide slavery. So this was the time where he allowed his people, our Father allowed us to go into slavery. But when 1866 came and they were supposed to do a treaty, they cheated us. Then they cheated us after they released us. Then they cheated us with the laws. They cheated us with, all through so the 100 years that they did too much was the 20th century. The 20th century. And if you look back on the history, that's the one, that history, as well as anything before that, they don't want to talk about. They want to start their history, talking about history in 9/11. You know what I'm saying? They want to talk about 9/11. You know, 9/11, we can't forget. Oh, the Iraq War. But wait, what about the first Iraq War? Oh, we don't talk about that, because that dealt with the Iran-Contra. That's how they got the crack and the cocaine up in here. So all this stuff that they are unwilling to deal with is a heavy shadow on themselves. And that's basically what it is. They don't want to deal with their shadow, right?
But why would you want to? You're guilty. Like, you're guilty. There's nothing you can do. Like, what are you going to tell me?
Why would you? Right?
Like, there's nothing. Why would you want to fess up to that? Because, you know, even under their corrupted system, right? That's a lot of jail time. That's even punishable by death in some states, right? For what they've. That's exactly what's coming. That's why they have that uneasy look. That's why they look like they're. You like to say consternation, but they look like they're constipated because they just all buck up.
That's the look now. The look now is the constipation. You know what I mean? Like, that's the look. That's the word, the constipation of the Gentiles. That's the deal. You know, they backed up
You,
they backed up. Look, watch this. They backed up because they can't get it out. They won't get it out. They won't let it go.
no, won't let it go. They saved it for a rainy day, but it's okay. You got 900 years coming.
You got plenty of time. That's right.
Lots of time, right? And it's just gonna circle and circle. I wanted to touch on a verse here, Philippians. Actually, did you want to mention how we came to this, the Philippians, the search that you did?
Oh, yeah. So on Monday, as I'm going through as I'm catching up from the weekend, because I was in Charleston, South Kakalaki, and I really couldn't get down with a whole lot of information. But 4:8 came to me as I woke up on Monday, and it said, do a search, all scriptures 4:8. Just that. And so I did. And when I did, it pulled up Philippians 4:8. And,
right. And so what?
Here we are.
4. Go ahead.
You gonna read
Philippians
it?
4. Yeah, I'll read it if you don't mind. So Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers, whatever things are true, whatever things are of serious concern, whatever things are righteous, whatever things are chaste, whatever things are lovable, whatever things are well spoken of, whatever virtue there is, and whatever praiseworthy thing there is, continue considering these things. All right, so we're going to consider these things, and I'm going to bring this right into the Seeing Gospel of Peace, the Sevenfold of Peace. And I think this is pretty important for the family, so I'm going to read it. So here we go. Sevenfold of Peace. Peace be with you, spoke the elder in the greeting to the brothers who had gathered for the teachings. Peace be with you, they answered. And they walked together along the banks of the river, for so was the custom when the elders taught the brothers, that they might share their teachings with the angels of the earthly mother, the angel of air, of sun, of water, of earth, of life, and of joy. And the elder said to the brother, I would speak to you of peace, for of all the angels of the Heavenly Father, peace is that for which the world yearns for most. Tired babe longs to put his head on his mother's breast. It is the lack of peace that troubles kingdoms, even when they are not at war. For violence and warfare may reign in a kingdom, even when the sounds of clashing swords are not heard. There are no armies marching one against another. Still, there is no peace. Then the sons of man walk not with the angel of God. I tell you truly, many are those who do not know peace, for they are at war with their own bodies. They are at war with their own thoughts. They have no peace with their fathers, their mothers, their children. They have no peace with their friends and neighbors. They know not the beauty of the Holy Scrolls. They labor not through the day in the kingdom of the earthly mother, nor do they sleep at night in the arms of the Heavenly Father. Peace reigns not within them. Forever do they thirst for that which in the end brings only misery and pain, even those trappings of riches and fame which Satan uses to tempt the sons of man. And they live in ignorance of the law, even that holy law which we live, the path of the angels of the earthly mother and the Heavenly Father. So the brother's asking a question. How then may we bring peace to our brothers, Master? Asked some of the elders. For we would that all the sons of men share in the blessings of the angel of peace. And he answered, truly, Only he who is at peace with all the angels can shed light of peace on others. Therefore, first be at peace with the angel of the earthly mother and the heavenly Father. For the winds of a storm stir and trouble the water of the river, and only the stillness that follows can calm them once again. Take care when your brother asks you for bread, that you may not give him stones. Live first in peace with all the angels, for then your peace will be a fountain that does replenish itself with giving, and the more you give, so the more you will be given, for such is the law. And then I'm going to read this last paragraph. 3. There are 3 dwellings of the Son of Man, and no one may come before the face of God who knows not the angel of peace in each of the 3. There are his body, his thoughts, and his feelings. When the angel of wisdom guides his thoughts, when the angel of love purifies his feeling, when the deeds of his body reflect both love and wisdom, then does the angel of peace guide him unfailingly to the throne of his heavenly Father. And he should pray without ceasing that the power of Satan, with all his disease and his uncleanliness, may be cast out of all 3 dwellings, that the power of wisdom and love may reign in his body through his thoughts and through his feelings. And yeah, I wanted to bring that to the nation, and I read so much there where I wanted to stop, but especially with that 3-bodied situation that we was just talking about, cleaning up the mind, so we're always self-checking. I mean, Sister Pat talks about this all the time, and I mean, this is what we need to do, clean up our bodies. If you want to be, not just our bodies, but our thoughts, right? Because one goes into the next, right? And this is that peace that we're feeling right now. The world is crumbling around us, right? But we're walking with the angel of peace. That's why we're not frightened, right? It was the angel of peace that brought Enoch up into the heavens, right, when he was frightened. So walking with this angel is a powerful angel to walk with, right? When he talks about, and you should pray without ceasing that the power of Satan, with all his disease and uncleanliness, you can clean those out. Like, look what's going on with the Diddy situation. That's because these guys were unclean, diseased, right? In the mind and in the body. Right. They're able to move forward, right? When I went to that verse when it talked about take care when your brother asks you for bread, that you may not give him, and that might not be physical, take that as physical pieces of bread, but, walking in the laws and giving your brothers the good way, and not like these pastors and priests will tell you all sorts of shenanigans and foolishness, right? That will lead you away, lead you astray from the Father, where we're trying to bring our brothers and sisters back into the fold, right?
I take that. Oh, go ahead. My bad. Go ahead. Finish your thought, brother.
No, I'd like to. I lost the thought, but it's okay. We can keep moving.
My bad, dude. My bad, man. My bad, brother. I was just gonna say, I take that as truth and lies. So when brothers are talking and they're trying to commune, it's not to give any lies. It's to give the truth. So however that may be, you're not supposed to. Where is that? That's when you were talking about the stone, right? Where is it?
Yes. Take care when your brother asks you for bread, that you not give him stones. So,
right.
Yeah.
So the stones would be a lie. Like if your brother's talking to you and he's asking you for, it's like saying, hey, how can I get over to the gas station? And you send them to, the Walmart, It's stones. It's not what they need. They need to, whatever is needed, give them what they need. Give them what they're asking for. The Gentiles are the ones that have been crafty in terms of you ask for something and they gaslight you, or they pump you up, or they give you lies. So the whole peace that we're after is truth, and that's the bottom line. I mean, we
walking,
huh?
To be walking to be walking the way that we're walking right now, you have to be a lover of truth, regardless of how painful it is.
That's right. And you know what's crazy about that? Now we can tell if you're lying. So we have sharpened our sword and have such a strong shield now with our armor that when the lie comes to us, it kind of bounces off. It's kind of like Neo. We're going, no, we don't want that. Nope, you're lying. We don't, and that's part and parcel of why all this stuff is happening today, because we stood up and said, nope, you're lying. We're done. We're not dealing with you. You lied about too much. So why now would we believe you? Like, the question still remains. Why would we as a people take any consideration of what they have said or are saying? Now, that said, okay, people do their job. People know their job. So if someone on your job, a Gentile on your job says, we got to do this in order to do this, okay, you got to take that. You got to accept that because they know about their job. But when it comes to spiritual truths, no, there is no truth in them about anything that would be able to edify you. Even the Gentiles today that are seeking, they are not to edify you. They are to confirm to you the time. So it's not like we're out here looking for them to give us any type of truth or understanding. No, we are far past them to where they're having to try to catch up to us. We're not stopping to allow them to jump on our coattails. No, they've got to. It's like this is like the 4x100, where you got to be running to get the baton. You can't be standing still when they come running in to give you the baton, right? So you've got to be on a dead sprint. So if the Gentiles aren't on a dead sprint trying to hand me off the truth, it's never going to work. And that's why right now we're the 4x100. Our people are doing that, and literally and figuratively, we're doing. Who's the fastest ones? We are. Who's the ones that's got the baton? What does the baton represent? Truth. So as we are moving the baton, because you got to realize we never got the baton. We're the first leg of the baton of this 4x100. We're not the last leg. We're the first leg of it, because our our parents and grandparents didn't hand us off the baton of truth. They handed us off the baton of what would be the word of assimilation, of integration, of security, of safety. They didn't hand us off the baton of truth, which the truth encompasses all of that. So they were handing us off little batons that were not really getting us the win. Now we got the baton, and we can hand it off to the next brother. We can hand it off to our offspring. We can hand it off to our sibling. And that's the beauty of this. That's why he was saying, when my truth, and Gentiles say, when my gospel is spread across, no, when my truth is spread across the entire world, which it is, like you got brothers over in Canada, America, Mexico, South America, Africa, Asia, Western Europe, Australia, New Zealand. You got brethren all over that are starting to realize who we are. And that in and of itself is that truth breaks all lies. Like and to watch these people today, it's like I was watching did I send it to you? I saw this thing. I don't know if Instagram or TikTok or whatever, but it was just this white lady was listening to the camps. She was over there, like she was. Her husband had to come and hold her up. She was struggling so much about this truth. This is what's about to happen to them. They're going to be exasperated to the extent that their heart will fail them, because this truth is heavy. I mean, for us, it was light.
It is heavy, especially when you know you're guilty.
Right.
That's what the heavy part is.
Right.
Right. When you know you're guilty, there's no plea deals, there's no nothing. Mm-hmm. Bro, you're gonna have to just take every last bit of this, and it's a hard thing to swallow. I'm like, that's why I'm not envious of them. I'm not hating. I'm just looking and observing, and I'm just I'm standing my 10 paces back, because I don't want to catch a ricochet, a stray shot, nothing. I already done had my lashes. Good.
That's right. That's no right.
Smoke. I want no smoke.
Right. None.
Good.
And it's like when when we first woke up. And we were like, you mean to tell me that we did this to ourselves? See, that was a heavy burden. But what did we do? We were told you need to repent for your forefathers, what your forefathers did to you. And I was like, okay, so we got to repent. So I started repenting for them and for my own iniquities, right? And the burden became light.
Right.
Well, fast forward to these folks. It's like, hey, you need to repent for what your forefathers. It wasn't me. I ain't do nothing. It gets heavier. That every time they say it wasn't me and it didn't happen, and I ain't do nothing, and I ain't own no slaves, and you niggas don't need to have no money. What y'all gonna do? Every time that burden just another stone goes around their neck, another heavy stone, and they can't lighten it, because to lighten it would mean they must tell the truth. See, this whole thing hinges on the truth. It has always hinged on the truth. And thank our Father, thank our Elohim that he has allowed us to endure and persevere through this, because without that strength, many of our brethren fell off. Many of our sisters fell off. I mean, I got people in my family that fell off, and
everybody got
I'm sure, and had they just had a little bit more patience, right? A little bit more perseverance, a little bit more endurance, because we're talking the 80s. So we ain't talking but 40 years ago, right? So if that, it always goes back to what he told the ancestors, but for a little while, that whole thing, but for a little while, got to, like, even in our day-to-day walk today, we have to be patient, not only with our walk, not only with our nation, but also with the Gentiles, because they don't really know anything, even though they claim to know everything, but they don't know nothing. And because they don't know nothing, there's no reason for us to be vexed by them. Like, you understand? It's like having a 5-year-old, what did Judah, I remember Judah made an analogy. He said it's like his son hitting him. It's like, come on, man, really? This is what you're gonna do? Going to elementary school and the biggest bully, the first grader bully, fighting, wanting to pick a fight with you. Really? That's not that. This is. Go ahead and sit down.
I think the word for them is hypocrites. They'll smile and skin and grit in your face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that too.
But
and the Father don't like hypocrites. He don't like that.
Well, I think the definition of hypocrite is what, a actor. So they're just acting the whole way through. Like, this is when you start to look at all these different groups, the Confederacy against us, and how big this thing really is, and it just hinges on the idea of just keeping one set of people down while everybody else can elevate. And it was a hard thing for me to wrap my mind around. But then once you start to see bits and pieces of the puzzle unveil, which is happening right now. I mean, I'll digress for a second. So I end up getting an email saying that Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott, a bunch of old school rappers were gonna come to town, and my wife was like, "Hey, would you want to go to watch that?" But in light of what's been going on with Diddy's situation and all of these other rappers and celebrities getting exposed, I'm like, I can't go back to listening to this junk, right? I can't be going into these ceremonies so that I can let these demons come and infiltrate my thought processes, or have me acting out a character. And I just said, man, this is hard, but I got even friends at work that were like, hey, man, like, we heard about the concert. Would you want to go? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's all you guys can talk about? Like, you guys, like what you said, the base of the base. They just want to be entertained, and even the entertainment ain't doing it for them because they're, like we said, they're perplexed. There's a nagging voice on them, letting them know something's not right. But even when you tell them and you put it point blank in their face, they just not getting it. They got that glazed look over their face, and that tells me that whatever spirit's over them, or it's ingrained into their psyche, DNA, and they won't be able to change. And that goes for, it doesn't matter the color. It does, just people are like that at this stage of the game.
Yeah, because to be entertained, they want to give attention or consideration to an idea, a suggestion, or feeling. So they've been they got sorcery. They're still under sorcery. You see, they've given themselves to be entertained. And so when we stopped being entertained, nothing entertains us more than the Father's word. And that's how you know who you are and who they are. Because those that are still trying to be entertained in this day and age of all this love that the Father is out, all this outpouring of love that the Father has done and doing, and they want to go to a damn concert, that tells you who they are. And to be honest, that's why we don't need to be bothered. And it's funny, you were saying hypocrite, right? So I looked it up, and the hypocrite before the 1800s and 1800s was used highly. Okay, it was in use a lot in the society. Then in the 1900s to 1950, it kind of flatlined. Then in 2019, it kind of went on the rise again. Do you see that? So when they were in their blessing, the height of their blessing, 1800 to 1850, they were using it, but then it dwindled off after 1850 to 1900. Then 1950, why? Because they had said, hey, we'll let you guys free. We'll let you guys be free. But then they start creating laws, and they couldn't even use hypocrisy anymore. Otherwise, because that would have told on them, and they weren't going to do that.
That's
so
right.
It's interesting, this word actor, Greek, hypocrites. Actor is what it means. So you're correct. Yes, sir. These, and the etymology of these words that they playing with, that they've used in sorcery against us. It's a funny thing that now that we read better than them, now that we seek understanding greater than them, how all these words are easy to see how they tried to use against us. That's their. Go ahead.
Isn't that the same thing where Judah says that everybody divvied up our information, so you're gonna act like this one, okay, you're gonna act like that one, okay, today you're gonna be a Native American, and you're gonna be this or that, and and that's all coming. It's all a stage. It's like all watching sports.
Yeah, it's
all a stage. It's like what type of organization that takes, man, to keep this shit going. Like, I mean, it's unreal, and it's now at this stage in the game where you're just able to make the connections in such short order, in such short time. Like, somebody can say something, and it will lead you to another experience, and you can make a full circle, have a better picture of what we're actually dealing with. And that's why, for the most part, anything that they say, my motto is, anything that they say, the opposite is true.
That's true. That's right.
Not anything, but
not anything, everything they say.
Right.
Everything.
Right.
See, and there's a difference. Anything could be anything, but when you say now it changes the whole dimension of their existence. And it's funny because they need to check themselves in terms of how they communicate, because they have been able to run around talking shit, talking left and right, saying anything they want to say, and no consequence. So now that they still think that they can do that, and we just give them the nonchalant of, really? Now what is happening to them now is they are being forced to self-reflect, self-convict, and they're going to be forced to self-correct or die. And that's not a color. That doesn't, Gentile doesn't mean all white people. It means anybody who believes. So I got this. I grew up with this brother. He played basketball, and he's a cool dude back in the day in high school and everything. But he was this guy who, in 2017, going into 2000, it was right after Trump got in and everybody was all up in arms in Trump, and also 2016 he came in. So 17, it was 18, because I had said one more year and we're going to see everything we need to see. And when it changes, I'm not going to say I told you so. And I said that in a post, or a comment to him from a post. And he was like, well, if nothing happens after 2019, do I get to say I told you so? And I said, yeah. And, that brother has not said a word to me, but I still see him all over the posts in our high school posts, the high school people just browbeating them about God don't exist. And this is a black man. God don't, he want to be from Africa so bad that, he did a lot of, like, this brother is like, he's a lost brother, but I hope the Father uses him and he wakes up. But nevertheless, Gentile is not all white people, because there are plenty of Negroes that look like us that don't believe. Like, they just won't acknowledge and accept. But them, like
they
the
blocked.
Europeans, are going to be, they're going to learn. Say again?
They are blocked. These are these brothers sitting there eating them pork sandwiches, eating the sea cockroaches, you know what I'm saying? And they just blocked. They're not gonna come off as stupid. They're gonna be stuck and stay there. Like, I have a similar situation with, I have a brother of mine that I've known for the majority of my life. I'm gonna say about 20, 25 years. Right? And we used to be bosom buddies, man. And then, situations changed. Brother's real successful right now. And but I was talking to him on the phone, and he was asking about the eclipse, and I started to, I wanted to reason with him because I love the brother. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he was my brother, and my wife said, "Hey, listen, man, you gotta tone it down when you talk to him. He can't take it." And I kind of got frustrated. No, he can't take it. Like, he's a very, very articulate, got a real high up position. You know what I mean? Like, making 6 figures, dummy. But he said
he that bougie Negro.
It's too.
He that bougie Negro.
So I mean, he came from nothing, pulled his biggest thing, right? But he can't. She said he can't take it. And I kind of got frustrated, and I had to self-reflect and say, well, how come I got frustrated when my wife said that to me? And the first thing came in mind was because you love him. He's your boy from back in the day, and I said to myself, you're right. It's because I love him, and he just ain't getting it. And I had to let it go. And the eclipse closed that for me That was just before the eclipse, a couple of days before, and that closed out that friendship for me because, I mean, he could still call me, I'll still pick up the phone, but I can't invest no more time or effort to try to keep up something that I know it's not going to be fruitful. And so I said, yeah, I forgive you, I forgive myself, and, you know, if you need me, I'm here. But at this stage in the game, you're on your own, bro.
You're on your own.
And I never said...
Go ahead, finish it. Go ahead.
And I never verbally acknowledged that to him, but that was the conversation I needed myself. And that's always doing that self-conviction that you like to talk about, you know, doing that word that Sister Pat likes to talk about is always checking yourself to see if you're still on the narrow path. And because I'm always thinking, when things start picking up, you know, further away we get from this closing out of this system, the more and more responsibility we're gonna have as children of the light, right? More responsibility we're gonna have to one another to keep us in check, right? Always reminding us. And at one point, too, that communication might not be here anymore, you know. So keeping that that oil in your lamp, verse that I talked about, in that fountain, self-replenishing itself, right? So all of the dead weight, all of the stuff that you have loading on your head, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. You gotta make room for the father and the mother to work. If you ain't making that room, you're gonna end up on the wrong side of this thing, or you're gonna get burnt when you really didn't have to. You know?
Right. And speaking of that hold that thought, because that's a good parlay to this. I want to finish reading. I want to read the next paragraph of the Sevenfold Peace. Because what you just said, this is what it says. First shall the Son of Man seek peace with his own body, for his body is a mountain pond that reflects the sun when it is still and clear. But when it is full of mud and stones, it reflects nothing. First must Satan be cast out of the body, that the angels of God may enter again and dwell therein. There's what you were saying. Truly, no peace can reign in the body unless it is the temple of the holy law. Therefore, when he who suffers with pains and grievous plagues asks for your help, tell him to renew himself with fasting and with prayer. This is what we're doing to all the people who don't believe like us. Tell him to invoke the angel of sun, the angel of water, and the angel of air, that they may enter his body and cast out of it the power of Satan. Show him the baptism within and the baptism without. Tell him always to eat of the table of our earthly mother, spread with her gifts, the fruits of trees, the grasses of the field, the milk of the beast, good for eating, and the honey of bees. He shall not invoke the power of Satan by eating the flesh of beasts, for he who kills his brother, and whoso eats the flesh of slain beasts eats the body of death. Tell him to prepare his food with the fire of life, not the fire of death. For the living angels of the living God serve only living men. So you can't, what you said was so vital and profound. You can't have truth, love the Father, and be unclean. So, like, if you were like to do that thing, to be with the Father, you have to be clean. Like, that's the whole point. That's the whole premise. And it's funny because holy. It's so funny how the issues of running around talking about the red heifer, blah blah blah, and I'm like, but who's clean? Who's clean over there to undergo such a ritual? Like, who's clean over there? They got rabbis that's clean? Who? If those rabbis over there are clean, their world would not be in such torment. So they are unclean. So when they talk about red heifers, the first thing I think about is, who is clean? So then you were like, yo, I'm gonna read the Sevenfold Peace, and I'm as you were reading it, I was like, oh, it's all about the cleanliness of the heart, of the mind, of the spirit, of truth. You can't be in the game of truth if you're unclean. It just don't. It's like oil and water. It's just not gonna mix. It's just you got to be clean, and this is what the Gentiles won't do, and that's clean themselves. They would rather have they want somebody to go and die again for them in their mind. In their mind, die for them. Speaking of which, not to get off point, but I had this conversation with this Gentile on TikTok or Instagram, one of the two, and he was saying that their Jesus died for their sins. And I said, no, your Jesus didn't die for your sins. Yahushua didn't die for anyone's sins. I said he was murdered by Rome and complicit murder by those Edomite Pharisees. And he was like, well, no, because, he wasn't murdered. He just gave up. He just gave up. So, okay. Fair enough. That's your logic, is what I said to him. That's fair enough. That's your logic. But let me give you an analogy. So because he had said before that, he had said, yeah, he was beaten to death. He was almost beaten to death, but he didn't die, and then he gave up. So I said, okay, so if you go into the society, into the streets, and someone beats you half to death, and then you go to the hospital, and then you just give up, is that not murder? See, this is the logic. This is the whackness in their thought process, their unclean thought process. Because death, dying, and murder and killing are completely separate things. And that's how you know Yahushua was a Negro, right? Because they won't even acknowledge they murdered him. No, he died. Natural cause. He just gave up. After we beat him almost to death, he kind of just gave up. It's the same thing they said. Emmett Till. Oh yeah, we kind of beat him, but then he died. Then we had to throw him into the lake. You see what I'm saying? Like, these things is the mindset of an unclean people. And so why would Yahushua let them beat him to death and give up just to let them sin more? Like, the logic of the Gentiles is on trial now, and it's not going to follow the Murdoch, this dude in South Carolina whose whole family were lawyers since like the 1800s, and they ran this little town. And he went on, and this dude was doing all types of drugs and stealing and manipulating money from his clients in his great-great-great-great-great-grandfather's law firm. And somehow the family got wind of it, and he shot his wife and his son. And he was like, oh, it was just the cocaine that made me crazy. It wasn't, I ain't really mean to do it. I ain't do it. It's like, come on, you're a Gentile, man. You meant to do it. You're unclean. You killed your people because that's just what you do. And that's what we're starting to see. We're starting to see a lot more killing because that's what they do. When when they're pushed to the edge, it's like, don't push me because I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. Like, these people are like, I'm losing my head and I'm killing you. They don't even care. They don't care. And they have never cared. And this is what's starting to come out. But I digress. My apologies. But yeah, go ahead, brother. Keep going. My bad.
Yes, when you were saying about them not being clean, right? And then they diseased in the mind, right? They're dis-ease. They have no easiness about them. They're not at ease. And the reason why they're not at ease, I don't have the book in front of me, but oh my goodness. I wanted to precept this with this, but when I talked about the trappings of riches and fame, Satan uses to tempt the sons of man, and the ignorance of the law. That one line right there sums up, the mentality of the majority, right? And I believe it was in the sealed portion where they talked about, it's a lot of books, but talks about the materialism, how that diseases them, how that brings them to do vile stuff, right? And you can see with all these rappers, man, it's right in front of our face, right in front of our face. The disease mentality, what the hate that they spewed, and we gobbled it all up. Killing.
Not all of us.
Well, I mean, when we were under our curses, we would listen to the songs, and some of us would, imitate art.
Right, life imitating art. No, and I understand your point, and you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody wanted fame and fortune. Why? Because that was the way that we could get out. We could gain some peace. But then you look at it now, and you see, well, these brothers who took that fame and fortune never got no peace. And that goes back to, do you gain the world to lose your soul? And it goes to where Satan tried to tempt Yahweh Shai. I'll give you all this if you bow down to me. Well, at the end of the day, if the Gentiles read their book, read their King James, read their NIV, read any of their Bibles, they could have correlated that in seconds. They could have correlated the entertainment world that was created by who? Amalek-ish, to see who is the devil and who is not. Because when you go into these, and even back in the day, we knew that there was some way that you had to, like there was some ritual that you had to perform to get down. Like we all knew that. Everyone kind of knew that, but no one cared because of the money, because of what the fame and the fortune. And now, I mean, now they're struggling.
I think that these people were so depraved, right, and so jealous of Israel and of the Hebrews that the minute they got their power, they went all out. They had to gobble everything. They had to eat everything. I don't know, but I mean, in my work environments, I deal with a lot of Gentiles, and it would always fascinate me. I'm like to myself, why are you guys always in such a rush? Get her done. What you doing? Get her done there. You know what I'm saying? Come on, buddy. Work the flow. Go on. They would eat their food fast. They would be, frantic pace. You know what I'm saying? Don't even and now
don't even
I get
it. Get all constipated.
No, don't. And now I get it is because they must have an inner clock that was saying, listen, man, you better get it while the getting's good, because you know what? This ain't going to last forever. And I truly believe that now, looking back. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but I mean, I truly believe that. And I mean, a lot of these guys never end up enjoying nothing. They'll get into their 40s and their 50s and they broken. They broken. You know, I've been to places where I'm looking at the husband and I'm like, they got a stackable washer and dryer. And I'm looking at the husband like, hey, man, you got to give me a hand. Like, I'm not going to be able to perform my job if you don't give me. You know what the man told me? He said, don't worry, my wife is going to help you. I'm looking at this woman's like 5 foot, nothing. But he's like, no, she's pretty strong. Do it. And I'm looking at him like, but what the hell's going on over here? And then she ended up piping up saying along those lines, like, you know, he's on disability now. But I'm looking at the guy and I'm like, my God, you look like you're able-bodied, but they broken. And it's because of that. Wolf down your food without chewing. And just, you got to get everything. You got to get, I mean, all the materialistic stuff, the F-150s, the Skidoos, the ATVs, the cottage. I mean, when I look at all of that stuff, and I'm
they had to have that they had to have that Jabberjaw so they could get out and continue getting that stuff.
Yeah.
And now they all
got their health to
Nope. They got no health in 50. They're and it's something to be said about the look, like this makeup thing for the women. That's the number one, like a makeup, fashion makeup. I don't know what they call it because I don't use it, but that is those companies make the most money in the world. This makeup, this sorcery. And this is what it's something to be said. I remember back in the day, sisters used to always be natural. And, as we got older, the sisters were even more natural and they couldn't wear their hair. They couldn't do this. They couldn't do that. So then they had to be, they had to wear a bunch of makeup. Then they wore a bunch of makeup. And the other nation women, they were like, yeah, you guys are one of us. But then they couldn't be one of them because they were smarter. You see? They were smarter than the rest of the nation women. And because of that, they were ostracized anyway. But they had already went as far as to use all this makeup. Now we're seeing sisters saying, nope, I'm natural. And, they're,
Never mind makeup, though. Never mind the makeup. It's the filters. Filters that they're using on the phones. Right? Yeah. My wife has shown me the other day, and I'm like, she's asking me, what do you think about this woman here? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I mean, she looks like, but she's like, okay, check the before and after. I'm like, oh, okay, that's really a big difference.
That is.
She's like, that's just from the phone. And I'm like, my goodness.
Yeah, I've seen the before and after of these women putting on makeup, and it is like this. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the sorcery. That's the sorcery of against men. That's that lust demon that wants that lust devil that wants to entrap you. It's an entrapment type deal. And again, this is not me saying I don't like women who wear makeup. No, I mean women who wear makeup look good, but nevertheless, some women utilize that as an entrapment. They will trap you with this makeup.
The brother might see me getting a Megan Fox, but when she take off that makeup, she looking like Red Fox.
Red Fox. Like who was the sister he was always beating up on? What's the sister's name that he was? Oh God, I can't remember her name.
I don't know.
On Sanford.
I don't know
her name. Now I gotta look it up. Sanford. Oh my goodness, right? What's her name? Wait a minute. Hold on.
I don't know.
I see her picture.
LaWanda. Well, that's that deception.
Esther.
Good.
That's so funny.
That's why I'm happy that this system's going because, I was dreading the day I would have to sit down with my son, when he become of dating age and be like, bro, you're going to have to get the pictures from when they were young. You got to get the full birth certificate because you don't know if Gabrielle is actually Gabrielle. You know what I mean? So
Right. It's crazy out here. It's crazy, bro.
And that's why I'm happy I'm married. You see what I'm saying? Because I feel it for the young brothers and the sisters out here because it's madness. It's madness.
It's straight up madness and chaos, and that's why. And actually, truth be told, is it a coincidence why all that madness and chaos has come that now we get the truth? Because somewhere it had to be balanced, right? I mean, the world had gone too far to the left, way too far to the left. And it was like, dang, now everybody you can do whatever you want to do, how you want to do it, dang. And if you said something about it, people get all on you. Be mad. Oh, you're on the wrong side of history. You need to, the world was so quick to judge a person for going against the far left that, now look at them. It's so crazy. It's like, now look at all these people. Yep, dazed and confused. That's right. That's right.
So we clearly, these attacks of the Shadeen are on these people right now. And,
yes. God.
Best part about this whole situation is the peace of mind that I have. I don't worry about nothing no more. I don't worry about the mundane stuff of life because the Most High is providing.
Yeah.
The earthly mother, she's right. I see the script has flipped.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is just easier now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though things are getting expensive and inflation, I seem to always have enough.
Yep.
And I can pay my bills and I have a little surplus at the end of the month, and I'm happy about that. Where I see my door neighbor, he got his pizza store, and this is the first time I've ever seen him actually walk the street, and twice in one day. So I know something's, because I could look at him and I could tell something's off. But I think the man's about to lose his business, right? And he got so much stuff wrapped in that, and I could just tell. It's sad to see because I like the guy and everything, but everybody got to get theirs, right?
Yeah, ain't your
my
business.
problem.
Yeah, and it's like, and I'll give you a, for instance, from my perspective, I started working downtown in August, and I started riding the train to get downtown in November. It was right before the Ring of Fire. And when I started doing that, I was watching people, especially the Gentiles, they were all giggling and talking, on their phones, talking to each other, blah, blah, blah. And after the Ring of Fire, they were doing it a little less, but they were still giddy, And then now, after, we had the eclipse, so I went in on Tuesday, and it was solemn, dude. It was real quiet, and they were all looking at their phones. The whole place was enamored with their phone. Nobody's really talking or looking at each other. Even the crazies that would get on and be crazy, they were subdued. I feel that the change, the full exchange of situation has occurred, and people like us who have ears to hear and eyes to see are able to tap into the spiritual realm that's around us and be a comforter or not. And when we're in the midst of people, like you going to a person, going to go handle up in someone's establishment to fix their situation, you come across different spirited people who you can't comfort, but you have to be told to comfort them. See, that's where I'm at. It's like I'm waiting for the Father to tell me, "Yep, talk to them. Yep, do this, do that." Like I've never done that before. It's never been to that degree. I would just do whatever I felt like I needed to do and let the chips fall where they may, and consequences were never on my side. It was never good for me in doing so. You know what I mean?
I totally hear you, and that's another great point that you bring up, is that moving forward, I'm less and less, like I like to listen to the brothers and sisters, but I'm listening less to, I guess I'm not listening less, but I'm my circle is very small now of the information that I'm taking in. But what I'm really trying to concentrate right now on is listening to the Spirit, listening where it's telling me to go, how to move, just being quiet and still, being quiet and still in the mind so that I can pick up on these things. right?
Yeah.
Because it's never going to be loud and abrupt. It's going to be very soft. You're going to hear it, but you have to listen. It'll be at a lower level, right? Sometimes you'll get the feelings, sometimes you'll get the goosebumps, but moving forward, because I'm thinking about the times where we're not going to be able to communicate. We're not going to be able to sharpen our swords on one another, with this word. So doing the work that needs to be done with your thoughts, that self-conviction that you like to talk about all the time, which that always resonated to me. Always moving with wisdom and power, you know what I mean? And your thoughts and your feelings, to be able to be in tune with nature, because our God is the God of nature. We need to be in tune back to that. And it's hard with all of the different energies that bombard us in our homes. Everything is out here to distract or to kill or to weaken, from the food that we eat to the
air,
television,
air,
water. I mean, it's all, it was all against us at that time. But like I said before, and I believe Sister Pat had talked about it after the eclipse, how she felt stronger, and that's exactly how I feel now. I feel like that weight, that shackle has come off, that yoke has come off, and I just feel stronger, man. I mean, that's just me personally. I mean, when the eclipse was going on, I felt like I could float. I'm not literally floating, obviously, but I felt like I could float off the ground. That's how the feeling came over me during that, and I just want to see what it's going to be down the line if I continue to keep going the path that I'm going, and it's going to be, we're going to get that. Whatever's coming is going to come to us, and I don't want to rush nothing anymore. I'm just taking the time. And I reflected. I'm like, listen, this is going to be the last bit of this system that we're going to have. So, I mean, for me as a father, I'm trying to spend a little bit more time with my children, getting them ready, mentally ready, my wife mentally ready, for the downfall. And we know it's not going to be all of a sudden, but I mean, shit, I think yesterday, if I stand correct, is either yesterday or the day before that the brick situation is gotten ramped up. Just they made an announcement in China or something like that. So I mean, everything that we've been talking about is coming to pass, and I'm taking in the last little bits of this old normal and getting ready to transition to the new normal. And a lot of the stuff that we have now, we might not have in the next little while, right? So,
and no, we are in the transfiguration of the whole house of Israel. Like, and that's what people don't really understand. Like, we are the collective consciousness. We are the Christ consciousness. It is about our consciousness. And the moment that we realize this, and the moment that we continue to realize our power in this, is when everything starts to change. Not starts, everything changes. Like even today, we have been manifesting all of this. And now these Gentiles is running out here talking about, oh, you guys, nothing happened. Look, ain't nothing happened. It's fine. And it's like, you guys didn't hear a word we said, did you? But it's okay, because we have manifested. We've already won. Like, that's what they don't get. Like, this whole thing is done. It's completed. It was finished from the beginning. We just had to go through it. We had to walk through it. Just like you walking through the door and the other dude, you walking out the door and the other dude walking in the door. This is what we had to get to that point to be able to do that. Now, where we are is holding on to our oil, because the Gentiles have been very, very crafty and cunning in making sure we had no oil. This was their whole game, especially those Amalek issues over there. We had the oil. The oil is us. We are the oil, and we didn't have none. And so now that we have our oil, and we're like, well, we're not giving it to you. And they're like, what do you mean? You're not giving us your oil. Now, and what does that look like? We're not going to your churches. We're not going to deal with your narratives. Now, when we look at them as they're like in their infancy, as children, in their so-called, not even spirituality, but their religions, they're so off. They're so off. Perry Stone, off. All of these other pastors that's out here trying see, and what they don't get, and this is where we are. It's not where we are. This is why we are, because we have the one thing they do not and cannot and won't deal with. We have prophecy. See, they all want to talk about history. They all want to talk about politics. They all want to talk about their madness, whatever, their health, their sports, whatever. We're talking about prophecy. So when the Gentiles get up and they start talking about religion and spirituality, they're pontificating on Pauline. We're talking prophecy. And so when we step back and say, but wait, we're talking prophecy. Oh, you guys are racist. Oh, you guys. No, we're not. We're talking prophecy. Well, you guys don't want to talk prophecy. Well, okay, let's talk about prophecy. You realize that your history, oh, you're racist. You see what I'm saying? Because they can't talk about the thing that is giving us the strength of conviction, which is prophecy. That's why we know what we're talking about is true. 1,050 gazillion% truth. We have there. Not any of our nation who are truly in the nation, who truly understands prophecy, would sit back and deal with any Gentile, black, white, blue, Puerto Rican, Haitian, whomever. Not even Haitian, Puerto Rican and Dominican. Is it Dominican? And Dominican, I should say, not Haitian. Dominican. We don't care. Like, it's like, yeah, okay. You guys, your Jesus died for you so you can continue to sin. Is that what you're telling me? Well, what about the prophecy of Jeremiah 30? Oh, we don't want to talk about that. Well, what about Christ saying that he's come for the lost sheep of the house? Oh, we don't want to talk about that. See, what we're saying today, what we're talking about today is prophecy. Prophecy includes history, his story, our story, the mystery. It includes the economics. It includes the political, the government. It includes the land. It includes the religions. It includes our spirituality. And what they want to do is they want to compartmentalize it and put it, separate it all. That's why they want to talk about science, like this eclipse was all about science. It's all about science. But why can't it be about spirituality? Because to us, it's about spirituality and prophecy.
It's funny that you say that, because if you've seen some of the clips about the eclipse, some of these newscasters were trying to say that there was one guy, there was a clip that I had watched, and I think it was on Big Levi's show. Anyways, he had said, I believe it was him. I'm going to give him the credit for it anyways. But where the newscaster said it was almost spiritual. And then the guy was like, no, we don't want to touch on that. We're going to say.
He said the gods are mad at us. That's what he said. The gods are mad at us. Are you talking about the one Levi didn't want to talk about? The one Levi was showing?
I believe so. I just only recall where the guy cut it.
He said it was spiritual. He did say it. He said it was almost spiritual, and then he went further and said the gods could be mad at it. earthquake. This was this was an earthquake. That was what that was. That's right. So okay. I'm sorry, I digressed on you. Go ahead. What did you say?
No worries. He said it was almost spiritual, but then the newscaster cut him off because he didn't want to have enough. The way how he cut him off was almost like, I don't want you to talk about that. We're just going to keep it to the scientific because we're the experts type of situation, and you only listen to us.
Right. And I'll tell you,
I wanted to touch.
Go ahead.
Tell me what you want to tell me.
I was just gonna say that what they fail to realize is that this is all metaphysical, and the metaphysical includes our science and our spirituality, because they all go hand in hand. But go ahead. What were you saying?
Okay, so that's a great segue because you talk about the spirituality, and then we talk about the esoteric, and they have that what's that movie on Netflix? There, 3 Bodies.
Yeah,
have you watched that?
I have.
Okay, so if you watched it, there's many different references to the eclipse in that into that movie. Or that series, what they have it as. And that goes into that verse that we just read not too long ago out of the Ascension Gospel of Christ, where it talks about the 3 dwellings of the Son of Man, the thought, the body, and the feeling. And then that's exactly what happened in the eclipse. We had the sun, supposedly the moon, and the earth in that alignment. Right? And bringing it to the esoteric, that's the alignment that we need to be in, to be in order, I don't even know how to say it, in order or to be in line with the Most High. Right? You need to be clean. Your thought process have to be correct. You got to have a clean body. You have to feel, right? It's all about those 3 things are very important.
They are.
Right? So our knowledge has grown by leaps and bounds. Our maturity, right? Where we used to be scaredy cat, oh, that's voodoo, or that's not, that's witchcraft,
evil,
right? And we've grown by leaps and bounds, and sometimes, because we're in it, we might not take note of how far we've come.
Right.
And I only think I say,
and that
brothers
scares
and sisters, that. Say that again?
I said that's what scares people.
Yeah, how far you've moved. How far you've moved. You talked about the ladder many times, Jacob ladder, and how far we've moved up the ladder. And these analogies come to mind, and I mean, clearly, I'm not the same man that I was 10 years ago, 7 years ago. I mean, not just physically, but mentally.
Right.
How I've come more mental than anything else.
Well,
right. And how they,
No, say what were you saying?
Go ahead.
Say what you were saying.
Just how far we've come mentally, just the leaps and bounds, over this time, and it just seems like yesterday, and that's where you see that divide now. Is like, I think people they're sealed now, man. We know this at the end of the Gentile reign, and that comet's running around just now. In the sky making its rounds. And I believe once that's out the door, I mean, if you're not sealed, man, hey, man, the best thing you can do is repent and cleave. At this point, because
exactly.
This is the best you can hope for at this stage in the game, because there's a lot of people up to this day, they can't let go. I mean, I drove around and I see people with all the Easter bunnies that they had up, and I'm like, man, y'all ain't getting it. And I felt bad for them too, because I feel bad because I know what's coming. I know what's coming. That's like I said, when I shook that man's hand when he made that comment. I mean, I thought about it for myself. I said, if this was my old me, I'd be jumping in his face and telling him all sorts of stuff and cussing him out and talking about this, and that. But when he said that, I took it as a sign, right?
Yeah.
I took it as a sign of, okay, man, I see you. I see you, and I know where you're going, so you're too mad at you. But welcome to the club.
Yeah, welcome to the club. And see, and that's that. So what has happened is, since, so for a long time, our chakras have not been charged. They just weren't charged. And that was by design, because the Father kept our batteries dead. Okay. But now, since the Ring of Fire, right? The Ring of Fire in the left hand of Virgo, Pluto showing up, the lunar eclipse, the blood moons, the wolf moons, the harvest moons, all the way to Passover now that we all are talking about, Pesach, we all about it, to this eclipse. Our chakras are charged, and our main chakra, which is our spinal cord, is completely charged up. And that's what we have to realize has happened. Like that's why we have moved so far ahead, because we are now charged. And that word charged could mean, charged up, or you are charged with something. We are charged with a mission. So now we see our mission. We understand, like how can we be a light that's not charged? We have to be charged up. So the Father knew, and it's a slow process, right? He's going to charge us up, get us real charged, as he's putting blowing out their candles. Their 10 candle menorah that they say, whatever, that 50 candle menorah, whatever the hell they got. He's blowing them out, and they're getting uncharged, and we're charged. And as he's charging us up, because when their light, the little light that they had, finally goes out, we have to be at full charge to be able to recharge our earth. That's what this is. So, when Levi's talking about, the superheroes or superhuman, yeah, that's what we are. We are bionic. They've never been bionic. Their whole goal, they were charged to not allow us to be bionic, because by nature and natural means only, we are supernatural. We are. I mean, it's just simple as that. And you let us be together where we are all united, we get to move mountains. That's why, if you believe you can move mountains, the Christians took it and they were like, oh, believe in Jesus. No, that's about us. We get to move mountains, We're the ones that are bionic with superhuman, supernatural understanding, wisdom, and strength. And it's not, and I'm not here saying only, no, because the Father can use whomever he wants, but we're just talking the prophecies of this book, of our scriptures. This is what our scriptures are saying. Yes, we have to be clean. But the bottom line is we got to be clean so we can be recharged. Done. That's it. And as long as we maintain our positive charge, we continue to get positive energy, just like it said. Where to go? It said, if you, where is it? Goodness gracious. First shall the Son of Man seek peace within his own body. So if you are at civil war against yourself, how can you be charged? How can you gain a positive charge? So all of this is about us coming to the realization, not only just of who we are, but what our power is. And this is what the Gentiles have always feared against us, about us, that we will one day wake up, realize our power, because you got to remember, before they were in power, we were in power, and we were kicking their butt. And they never forgot. All day, every day. And they were mesmerized by the power that we had, knowing they could never achieve it. So when they got Paul, who, mind you, Paul got charged up to be able to be a light to the Gentile. He had to get overcharged. So Paul's so charged up that he's like giving them understanding, but it's coming out in circles. So they were like, yo, we can't mess up Jeremiah. We can't mess up Isaiah. We can't mess up. But Paul, we can manipulate those words, because he was so charged up trying to help them. And the Father's like, go, because Paul was used to be a stumbling block. And now they all are talking about Paul. And what did they do? And they missed Yahweh Shai. They missed his people. The whole point is Yahweh Shai had to come for his people, because they knew that these people, these other people, these nations were going to do them in, because they were envious and jealous and hateful and spiteful of his people. Why? Now, it was good measure. Good, we were some assholes. We were wilding. We did what we wanted to do. But now that we have been at the bottom of that, knowing that we don't want to be back at the bottom, so now we're dealing with a positive charge. Our atoms and atoms are now being charged as one to be able to allow our chakras to be. That's why they took the chakra and gave it to those Indo-Europeans over there. Oh, you guys hold on to that. Don't let these Negroes know about the chakras. And then they told us over here, oh, that stuff is evil. Because the moment we grabbed our chakras and we charge up, it's game over. It's game over. And that's what you're feeling. That's what Pat's feeling. That's what the nation's starting to feel, that we're getting charged. We're like, dang up. And here's another telltale sign of us being charged up. We don't look our age. we look younger. And they are not looking any. Matter of fact, they're looking older. We're looking younger. This is the sign of being charged up. This is what it's all about. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, stress will do that to you, though. It'll age you quick.
And that's what I'm saying. So we got no stress, and we're being charged up. So we're changing the age cycle. They got stress, and they ain't getting charged up. They're going the opposite way. We're going the other way. This is and even when they were charged, they were never charged up, but they were able to not have the stress, but they chose to have self-induced stress by their materialism. They foiled themselves again. You see what I'm saying? It had nothing to do with us. Now that we can be charged up, we don't care about the materialism per se. We still got to eat, sleep, drive, and put gas in the car and eat, do our thing, but we're not. I got to have my Louis Vuittons. I got to have this. I got to have that. I got to, we're not doing that. And you can tell
the burden is light. Huh? The burden is light now. You don't have to be running down these things.
That's
not
right.
thinking about how you're going to get over on your brother and your sister just to have these material things. But see what happened? Again, all these rappers, all these different people getting called out, and they was pushing that materialism heavy in the 90s. That burn come to just choke them out, right? It's like the millstone over the neck, and it's not coming off. It's just tighter.
Yep. And now they all got that look on their face, like, well, what me? I'm telling you, what me? It was all P. Diddy, and we're like, nah, you were there, just like the Epstein thing. Come on, all you politicians were there, and this is why all the innocent blood will have to have atonement. Like people are going to be judged for the innocent blood that they took. And these rappers and these politicians and these leaders and these teachers and these pastors, all of the blood that they took, all of the secret combinations that they have put forth, they will have to pay for that. Like, I look at myself and I'm going, I treated some people bad, but I ain't really, kill nobody. I ain't really do no real harm. I might have just, cursed somebody out or, mistreated somebody, but I've atoned for that and I repented for that. So I moved forward. These people, how can you atone for breaking the 10 commandments? Like, how do you even do that?
And doing it right up until the end.
Right. How do you repent for, and I know that, but this is their words, you can repent. Well, how do you repent for murder? You don't think that innocent blood that's crying out wants justice? I think that's the analogy of the story of Cain and Abel. Cain's blood wanted justice. And Cain's going to get justice. I mean, not Cain, Abel's going to get justice. So if the innocent blood is crying out for justice and these fools have been murdered, I mean, Hiroshima, how much innocent blood was shed that day? Nagasaki. You see? What about Ish over there that just carpet bombed Gaza? How much innocent blood? So then when people go, well, you need to vote. No, sir. I'm not being complicit with it, because see, when I vote for either one of these degenerates and they give money and weapons to these other degenerates, well, then I'm complicit in them doing what they do. I don't want to be complicit. I don't want no part of their madness. And what's funny is everybody that's still into that, I'm looking at them and then, I see some of my friends up in D.C. because, D.C.'s, I got a bunch of friends that are still in that political game. They're either boule or they want to be boule. They in the Greek or they want to be Greek. And I'm going, I'm not voting. I'll never vote again. Oh, well, you can't say nothing. What the hell are you talking about? I can't say nothing. It's better for me to say something because I'm not involved in it. I'm not in it. I'm outside of it. So therefore I got no dog in this fight. So I'm able to say and tell you the truth with no biasness. But they don't care. They want biasness. That's why this whole system has to implode and go away. And, it will. I'm not telling the Father to hush it, to hurry it, because I'm enjoying myself right now, to be honest.
I had a thought, because I live in the nation's capital and up here in Canada, and I said, when you just was just speaking there, and I thought about this for a second, I said, man, when this thing starts to pick up pace, man, a lot of these guys ain't going to be around here no more, because this is a government town, and the biggest employer is the government. And all of them were mandated to take you know what. And, they had to show proof of the first one. They had to show proof of the second one. I mean, I've heard of people, government people and in the medical industry, getting boosted up to 8 times. I'm like, my God, like this place is a ghost town.
Right.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wow. It just popped in my mind when you said that, and I said, well, look at that. I always get a chuckle when Big Judah says, he walking around to these different places and he got dibs on this house and that house, and I always chuckle to myself. I think it's funny, but for the first time I can actually see with my mind's eye what he's saying, because I just thought about it. My God, this place gonna be empty.
Empty, dog.
Empty.
And that's the thing. It's empty for a reason, for us to get it and appropriate it positively and righteously. They're not going to get a chance to destroy anything. They're going to destroy themselves. They're going to off themselves because they can't handle this stress. I'm telling you right now, they ain't seen nothing yet. And then when it gets when this heat hit them, and they turn around and they over here looking for 200 SPF. It's going to be. They're going to this summer. They're going to be like, there's no more SPF anywhere to run on it because it's going to be cooking them, dog. It's going to be cooking.
It's hot because you're right. It was hot during the eclipse. I think it was 13 or 15 up here, and I had a light sweater, but you could. Sure.
13 or 15 Fahrenheit. Is that what that is? Because we talk about we ain't smart down here. We deal in big numbers. So what would that be down here?
I don't know the conversion, but regardless, to say it was hot weather, right? It was hotter than it should be, and
right.
Today was hot too, where you could walk outside with I had to take off my sweater because that's how hot I was. I was in a t-shirt. So when you're talking about the heat, this is a different type of heat, man. This is almost like a microwave heat.
Right.
Coming in. This ain't no regular. These days is gonna be wickedly hot. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people are gonna stay inside, and that's the other thing I noticed too during and after the eclipse. Nobody was outside.
No.
The place was just dead. Nobody was outside. Wow. I mean, they showed a lot of big crowds, but in my neighborhood, damn, there was no traffic.
Mm-hmm.
The only people you saw outside was the people who were in the stores, and the parking lots were closed. A lot of people stay at home, man. I believe a lot of people. I think they had an uneasy feeling.
Yeah, as they should.
Feeling.
That's what this was all about. This is what it's all. That's what it's all about. The uneasiness of the fall of the revived Roman Empire. I mean, it's happened before. This reincarnation of this time period for us is the same for them, and they know it. They feel it. They just don't want to accept it. We know it, we feel it, and we accept it. And this is where the conundrum is with the world right now. This is why we can be, I've even come to the realization that it don't matter. Like we can say Zionists and Ish and Jewish and all. It don't matter no more. This is how bold we are. This is how strong and confident we are. This is where we are. Like none of the Ish, those people ain't even the people for me to even waste my energy talking to or talking about. The Zionists, those people ain't even listen, none of these people warrant the energy that takes away from my chakras. Does that make sense? Like that's how I see it now. Now it's just me going, hey,
correct.
You're
absolutely correct. You don't want that fear to infiltrate
your
peace.
That's right.
You don't want that. And for us walking with the angel of peace, walking with the earthly mother, walking with the heavenly father, walking with the angels, you should be at peace right now. If you're doing the right things and you've been doing what you need to be doing, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Just keep doing that. Just don't fall for the okie doke because you don't want to get this far and then throw yourself off the damn bridge when you only had a few more steps to go.
That's right. And when they say, what was the Eddie Murphy thing? Don't be falling for the banana in the tailpipe. See, this is where they are. They falling for the oldest tricks in the book because they would rather be bedazzled by some phony trick than accept the supernatural exchange of situation. That's the bottom line. And it's hilarious. So I try to right now when anybody's trying to vex me and come at me or whatever, I take it as a challenge to my growth and I move forward in it. And they're like, oh, well, that went well. Yeah, of course it's going to go well. Like, what do you think? I'm going to go crazy and be mad? No, it went well because I'm willing to accept whatever it is so that I can get on to the kingdom to come. righteously. Like, you're not going to vex me to the point where now we fighting and now I lose my blessing. You know, I'm not getting caught up in your madness. You're not going to catch me like that. You know, so all that said, brother, we are coming to the end, and it's 11:25, and we're a little over, but it was well worth it. And now we're at the end. I got 5 minutes before it shuts down, and I can't upload. So, brethren, any last departing words? Any last?
Yes, I'm going to say this last thing here. As I enter the eternal and infinite garden of mystery, my spirit is oneness with the Heavenly Father, my body in oneness with the earthly mother, my heart in harmony with my brothers, the sons of light, dedicating my spirit, my body, and my heart to the holy, pure, and saving teachings, even the teachings which of old was known to Enoch. That being said, I love you. And to all the family out there, I'm sending you mad love and respect. We on our way. I can't wait to see you guys at the family reunion.
The family reunion. Yes, brother. Those are great words, and I appreciate you as always. We'll talk soon. Thank you very much for being part of this tonight. We'll do it again real soon. Family, friends, foes, Gentiles, and brethren and sisters alike. All praises to our Father. Shalom.
Peace.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.